welcome to the Electrician's Guide to Everything, a podcast where we explore the electrical industry with various guests, including experts, innovators, and influencers. Now, tonight's show is brought to you and powered by My Energy, innovators and UK manufacturers of eco-smart home technology, including world-leading electric car charger Zappi. So I'll get my words out in a minute. And the awesome Eddy Power Diverter, harnessing the power from the sun. Their aim is to create innovative solutions for a harmonious future between people and our planet. myenergy.co.uk. Check them out. Awesome British company.
That was almost perfect.
There's a little bit, but I know it can be fucked about with.
Now,
So
can we get back to the usual shenanigans of this podcast and stop sounding too polished, please? Because that sounded very good, mate. Very impressed. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to be back to a normal podcast. Yourself and me, smashing it out as usual. So tonight we're actually joined by a he's just come bursting onto the scenes with all these opinions. This geezer he calls himself the Midfield General. I don't know if you've heard of him, Rick. Wheels Electrical.
Who the bloody hell's that? Never heard of him in my life. No, how you doing, Will, mate? How you doing? You all right?
Oi. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Now, to be honest, I'm not on Instagram too much. And that is typically where you spend most of your time, as I understand it.
Well, it's not so much most of my time. Yeah, that's probably what I do a daily story. Basically in the morning. When I first used to do it, it's got a lot bigger Instagram and all that, but what I used to do is in the morning, I'd always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Will from Will's Electrical Services. And I'd always use an inspirational figure. So obviously where I'm a Chelsea fan, I'd always go through all the things. I've been Chuck Norris, I've been Mary Berry, I've been absolutely everyone. Who would you be, Rick? And who would you be, Sam? Who's your... Because I'm usually the white Michael Essien of the electrical world. I know you're not football lads, but that is big time, you know what I mean?
So are we talking, does it have to be someone other people know or just someone I take inspiration from? Which is a big thing now. We're not going too deep with it.
It could be anyone, but you got to remember, it's first thing in the morning, so you got to sell it to people. You know, I'm pretty positive person, so I don't, you don't have to be someone too serious.
For me at the moment, I'm going to go Morgan Freeman. But I'm not going to say why, because I'm not going to get that serious. But for me at the moment, I'm liking a bit of Morgan Freeman.
Heavy.
I'm going to go for a fat Frank Grillo. You might not know who he is. Frank Grillo.
You've got to go into that. Morgan Freeman was easy. Everyone went, Morgan Freeman, yeah. And then everyone probably went, I can see why he said that without getting too into it. But who?
No, I'm a fat Frank Grillo because I've just finished watching Kingdom on Netflix and it's just awesome.
How did you not go Joe Rogan? How many times have you spoke about Joe Rogan on this show? Has he been like your one?
Yeah, I know, but that's too obvious, see?
Like, it is obvious. It is your one and only.
Obvious.
It is your one and only. Listen, before we get too far into this, we've got to do it. We've got to do the quick fire question, Sam's favourite segment of the show.
Okay, let's do this. This is the quick fire question round, and it is sponsored by Signs and Labels Direct, or quite simply SLD. Check them out at signsandlabels.uk. Now, there's a right answer and a wrong answer, and you will be judged quite harshly if you get them wrong. So, just so as you know that. Power tool brands.
Yeah.
What is your preferred power tool brand?
It's Milwaukee, mate.
Hold on. Whoa. We used to give a choice on this. We used to say DeWalt, Makita. Well, I know the list got a bit crazy.
He's been watching my videos, isn't he?
No, it's got way too long, so I just do power tool brand now.
Okay, fair enough.
And I've added a new one to it.
For that.
Oh, we got a new one. So listen, silence, please. We've got to get into this now.
That?
We've got a new one.
Does this mean I get to answer the new question after? Go on, carry on.
Yeah. New question. Snips or croppers?
Croppers all day long.
That's a good question.
They're for tie wraps, aren't they?
No, side cutters or croppers?
Yeah, not tin snips. Not tin snips.
Side cutters or croppers?
Croppers.
All right, fair enough. It's wrong in my opinion, but we'll discuss that later.
It's not wrong. We've had this discussion. We've had this discussion over many a podcast talking about how side cutters beat croppers.
I don't know any sparks that use side cutters.
Vicky.
Me.
They're for tie wraps, aren't they?
Well, I always thought that was really good for gripple, but listen, I digress. We will continue.
I've got to take to answer to that, Rick.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Work trousers or jeans?
Trousers. Work trousers. Sneakers.
Day rate or price?
Price.
And preferred tester brand?
Omega. Well, Omega with the MFT, everything else Fluke.
No,
that's heresy. Heresy.
What?
You can't mix and match. If you go for, you have to
actually,
be like all in.
Do you know what? I get that because
I'm a tester, Rick, so of course I am.
Listen, because I don't think you can beat the Mega MFT, but when it comes to Mega continuity testers, they're basic next to Flukes. They're pretty basic next to what you can do with a Fluke continuity tester. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And plus, Mega ain't as easily available, are they, really? The continuity testers and all that.
No.
Yeah, they are on the internet. Just go on the internet. Don't go to CEF or your local wholesaler and think they're going to have every single type of tester. No, but I'll tell you where it does. The internet. Relax.
It's true, but CEF do like CEF favour Fluke. If you go in, it's all normally Fluke, Klein, Super Rod, CK. These are all the dominating brands.
Yeah,
so they don't get you anything. Yeah, exactly that. But
so what drivers do you use?
What are you asking?
Well, both, yeah.
Both. Who do you want to go first?
I'm using CK at the moment only because I got them sent to me. But yeah, my next set of screwdrivers will be Nipex ones because then they match.
Nipex. You, Rick?
So screwdrivers, I've got a mismatch. Like I've got CKs.
Heresy.
Yeah, I've just got CK. I've got ones I picked up from Senate, Rexel, WF, whichever you want to call them, because I got all their names.
They've shut in Stevenage, WF. They used to be pretty big.
Yeah, well, they own about 5 companies, but I got a couple from them. I got a couple of Wearers. I used the Wearer Torque screwdrivers.
Yeah, I see that. I see your video on that on YouTube. Do you know that the Torque screwdriver, like on that, it doesn't actually go up to the size for the Hager main switch?
No, it only goes up to 3.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it?
Well, the other strange thing I found when I started going into it is when you go onto manufacturers' settings, Torque settings, a lot of them don't even list them. It's very hard to find. The only one that do consistently is MK, and obviously the Century range don't exist anymore. So the other ones, you go on there, and it's a bit all over the place. I know Hager do their MCBs to like 1.7, but then MK would do it to 2.5, and it's a bit...
Hager on the new boards, the new consumer units, they've got a yellow sticker on the things, but like today, the last couple of days, I've been putting in a 3-phase board, and like with the
RCB... You have to Google how to do that.
Sorry?
Did you have to Google how to do that?
Look at Mr. Non-Technical piping up over there. Get back in your box.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm putting in a surge protection one as well because it's like a new 3-phase, and it's just like, oh, mate.
Oh, yeah. Are we getting to the stage where, like they do with the big old MCCBs, have the star Torque set, and don't they snap off when you do them up?
Yeah, that's
do we need to get something like that from breakers now? Something so the first time you do them, they just break off. I don't know if that's a viable thing.
They shit the life out of you as well because they're about 300 quid a switch.
Yes, but the first time you do one, you don't realise it breaks off. Fuck! Oh my god! What have I done?
You try to get it back out, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because
it's a clever idea. I've never had one go down, to be honest. So
it's a bugger if you stick it in the wrong place. If you make a mistake, you're fucked. You have to take it back out again.
I suppose you could physically start on L2 and end up on L1, couldn't you?
Yeah, you see, you get special, didn't you? Get L1, L2, L3 if you're single phase. They're all slightly different. I've seen people get them in the one order and there's a gap at the bottom. Ah, fuck.
Riveting, fellows. Riveting.
I think that's what it's called, a torque rivet. We'll go with that.
Do you know what it's called? It's called bore off with the conversation.
No, listen, this is important stuff. I will just, talking about the torque set and stuff, I don't know if I spoke about it on the podcast, Sam. I certainly spoke to you. The problem I'm having now, especially with Schneider boards, is when you push against the RCBO to get your purchase, doing it up, it pops the RCBO out. You know, the ones that insert into the back of the board?
Yeah.
The Schneider, what is it? The Resi 9, I think it is.
They were the square D ones,
That's
weren't
it.
they?
But so now you put pressing that, so now you've got to hold the breaker in and torque it up. That's not fun. And that's not a clever idea. If you've got to do that, it's not working.
They're well dangerous, they are as well. I hate them.
Main switches keep burning out, I find. I've been to about 3 in the last 8 months, and the main switches, but only one that does it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. Carry on with your non-technical stuff, please.
I don't know. I don't even know what to talk about now. But I know that Will's got a whole list of stuff that he wants to get into. What is your first question for us, Willis?
What's my first question? Well, you've thrown me now, haven't you?
No, I thought you'd written them down.
We started talking now.
No, listen. Give it all large. Listen, I've got a load of questions for you. Yeah, I love Chelsea. Yeah, have it.
No,
Bish Bash. I'm from Stevenage.
What? Yeah.
The fuck are you on about?
Yeah.
Toby. Basically, all it was, going back to my Instagram and all that, is in the mornings, what my not a tactic, but what I used to do is I'd always like do an intro, show people what I'm kind of going to do for the day, and then in the evening because I used to show people, like, do the pictures, because I like to fuck about, you know what I mean? I don't mind a laugh and all that on my stories, but then on my page and all that, I still try and keep kind of professional, you know what I mean? Because even though, I am professional, like I've got my own company, I've got an apprentice, got a couple of subbies.
So this is a business page, it's not a personal page, so it is representing the company to an extent.
It is and it isn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm 43, so I'm not looking to expand to be like the next fucking, like, whoever. I want to be local. I've spent my time in London, you know what I mean? It's like, I think you lads are similar to me, and you can quite as easily go into London as well as stay out of it, can't you?
I mean, I'm out of it now. I'm so far out of it, mate. I'm doing the local social housing, which, like I've said in a few videos and to a few people now, actually, I don't think I've said it in a video, but the work-life balance is amazing. If I see my nan and granddad earlier, and they went, do you know what? You always see him happier now. You always see him happier because I've struck. I'm not chasing the money now like you do when you're self-employed. You can't help it. You chase the money. Everything's right. The only goal on how well you're doing when you're self-employed is how much money you're earning. There's not a lot else to it, is there? But when I'm working for a company, I'm looking more at the progression value. That's what I'm basing it on now.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get to the QS level? How do I get higher? Where am I going? So it's a different goals. And I'm home every day for 5 o'clock. I don't have to get me van till 8. I work local, so I could come home for lunch, see my family, see my kids.
Yeah,
see my wife. It's nice, mate.
I've done a similar thing, like in North Arts, like social housing. I've done a lot of testing. I've even done a lot of rewires and all that. And it's quite funny that I was social housing, because I started off as a commercial Sparks, and then all of a sudden I moved on to another company, and then they done the maintenance for Woolworths.
Okay,
and all that. And obviously Woolworths went under, didn't they, in the recession?
They did.
And then all of a sudden I was like, fucked. I didn't have a car, didn't have anything. So then all of a sudden one of my friends was working in Pimlico, doing flats. I went down there for a little while, and then someone called me up and said, "Oh, do you want to come do some social housing rewires?" And it's like, I've never done any domestic or anything. You know what I mean? Even as commercial Sparks, you know what you're doing, didn't you, to a certain degree? But and then I've done it for a few years, and honestly, we was on price on it, and we were smashing it, because the lad I was working with had like a family and everything. So I was the lead Sparks. I think at the time, I was on 150. He was on 100 quid a day, and we split the profits, so it's fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's then we both got the goals, and we smashed it for years. Quite a few. It's quite embarrassing, really, because it was in recession time, but I was probably earning my best money. You know what I mean?
That's sometimes the way the dice rolls, mate. And I know, talking about this, Sam, we spoke a few times this week about how you're kind of struggling now with the working away from home.
Yeah, it's absolute nightmare. I'm not even really working away from home. So what's happened is we moved from Croydon down to the coast, down to the Thanet coast, and I was working at a hotel in Croydon. Well, I am still working at a hotel in Croydon, so I'm staying at my brother's a couple of nights a week rather than travelling back down to the coast. And I'm really struggling with it at the moment. Technical issues there.
Little mic problem there. Do the little screw on the side there, mate. It's next to your hand there. There you go.
No, I've done that, bro. Thanks.
Well, not very well. It's just spun round.
No, so I am struggling with the because I've got a young daughter as well. So she's 15 months old. We've just moved down here. Now I've got my family down here, and I'm still back in Croydon. It feels like I haven't really moved. So I'm finishing up on Friday. It's actually the last day of the job on Friday. So I'm super pleased to just be like finally breaking ties with Croydon. I'll never work in London again. I'm done with working uptown. Like getting on the train for an agency job and all that. That's done for me. I'd like to say it's definitely done forever, but you never know what's around the corner. But as far as I'm concerned, my goals have definitely changed now. And Joe, I'm even thinking about going out on my own down here.
That's a scary
thought.
Do,
mate. I'd always advise that.
Cool. What was that, Rick?
So that's a scary thought, isn't it? You're working by yourself.
So you two ever worked together then?
Nah.
Like on the tolls?
Never.
He's lucky because I'd have to he wouldn't want me to keep pulling him up all the time and showing him how to do stuff.
I'll be honest.
What's both your backgrounds then? You're both commercial or domestic or?
Yeah, so I cut my teeth as an apprentice doing social housing, rewires as a subby, as a subby apprentice, shitty apprenticeship I had, just doing social housing rewires up in Hounslow, eye opener, right, real eye opener, and then I just went, once I got my gold card, I went on the agency circuit and started doing stuff on the agencies and that, and I really enjoyed it at first, but what a lot of people don't realise is, and it's quite easy to get sucked in with the money, but before you know it, you're 35 and you know there's not really any progression. The money that you're earning now is probably not going to get any better, but your commitments are getting bigger, and you're like, Jesus, I need more money. So you've got to start doing other stuff to get more money, getting more tickets, and then you can go from running a job to being a disposable bottom of the run spark the next day. So it's a tough environment to create a career out of, and really and truly, in my opinion, I think the agency world is really a great plan B and should only ever be a plan B.
Yeah, you say that though. I was chatting to one of my mates, Darren, who I've worked with before, and he works up in Cambridge, on the agencies, and he was telling me I'm a bit out of the loop with it all, but he was telling me he was getting $225 a day on the on the agency, and I'm thinking I run my own company, that ain't too bad.
But I guarantee he's on site for 12 hours, docked an hour for lunch. Do you know what I mean? And then there's an hour travel each way. Before you know it, you're out of the house for 14 hours. You get home, you're knackered, you're miserable, you're around with your missus. Do you know electricians have the highest divorce rate, highest addiction rate? But why is that? Because it's a stressful job at the best of times, let alone being piled on by agencies and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. That's the only thing. With myself, I'm a bit foreign to the old agencies. I've worked for sub to loads of companies that have them, but I've never actually been one. And I tell you, that was the thing I was going to chat to you about. I was going to say is that I've never had a job interview in my life. You know what I mean? I've just always word of mouth for jobs, and all that. And the first company I ever worked for, they had agencies. And some of them were unbelievable, but then some of them, there was one geezer, Swanley, where the JRB places and all that. There's a swimming pool there, and we done that up and all that. And this geezer used to turn up every dinner time. He used to have a bottle of cider and all that. And it's it was so unique. No one had the bottle to say anything to, because it's you what?
It's
You know.
It's a funny thing. You meet a lot of characters on agency work. A lot of characters.
Yeah.
I've met people in the agency circuit that will be friends for the rest of my days. People I really respect. People I've like Rick. Although we didn't meet on a job, we met through the agency circuit, and like we're friends, families, friends, the whole lot now. It's and you get to work in interesting places. I mean, I've worked in some of the major sites in London, on some really interesting projects in London, all kinds of stuff. I don't regret my time as an agency spark, but what I regret is not seeing that it's not a career.
The trouble is, as well, you say that where you've worked on some really nice sites, nice jobs. The bigger the job and the nicer the job, the shitter the pay. So I worked on Goldman Sachs Investment Bank, £350 million projects, £20 an hour.
Yeah.
That was the paid number. It was £20 an hour. The Tottenham job, Tottenham Football Stadium, £20 an hour. If you'd done 12-hour days, 7 days a week, it'd go up. You'd get a bonus. I worked on a little WeWorks building. So we worked on an office space down at Shaftesbury Avenue. That was $230 a day. Little project, but you can negotiate it because it's small. It's a smaller contractor.
I suppose the sad thing is that you don't really get to see the job out either, do you?
No.
Normally, if you're an electrician on the agency circuit, you're only ever called in to fix other people's shit, and then you're fucked off as soon as it's done. So you'll never see your job out. You'll get called in my experience, normally 3 months before the job ends. You'll do a couple of months rectifying a load of shit. And then right before the job ends, when there's a few little bits left to do, they get rid of you and use the same old fucking idiots that done it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's a funny old thing because I'm actually... So the job I'm on, I'm not agency. I got it through word of mouth. And I've been there... I don't know how long I've been at this hotel, Rick. Do you? Like 6 months? Way more than 6 months.
Mate, this was... Yeah, it's been a while. This was a brilliant job for you until you moved.
Mate, well, I moved in the last 3 weeks of it, but I'm actually going to get to see the job out. This is the first job I think I've ever worked on until completion, 100% completion.
Until a geezer drives around the reception with a digger.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's a mustard job. Really great company I've worked for. Really, mate, I've had it right off here. I've had it right off. I've been getting £25 an hour.
Or...
Eh?
Oh, so you're on a day rate, yeah?
I'm on a day rate, 8 till 4. I come and go as I please. Most if we're ahead. So what they do is they give you, I don't know, 30 rooms at a time. So all the rooms get gutted. You go in, rewire them. Second, the furniture comes in. You second fix it. Then it's tested, switched on and tested. Boom, room done. 30 rooms done. And sometimes we're so far ahead, you just get appearance money for like 3 or 4 days in a row. He's like, nah, you might as well shoot off, mate. Bosh, we've got nothing to do. One day I was there. I just, one of them days where you just want to get on. So just getting on, and he comes up, taps me on the shoulder, he goes, you're doing too much today. Go on, mate.
I'll tell you what as well. Price work and agency, do not mix.
Do not mix
because
that's where you can have a meter cable pushed up the conduit, and
yeah, well, you know what? You go to it, and there's just too many people involved. If you're doing it for a contractor, you've got a relationship. You do what you need to do. But you turn up an agency to a price work job, and you go, right, I don't know. Typical is sort of housing, isn't it? You go and first fix a flat, and you go, right, £100 a flat, just for instance. You know what? I want to go do 4. Well, there's only 2 available, mate. Well, that's not fucking good to me, mate, is it?
Yeah.
How many we got in front of you? And you go the next day, I've only got 1 available today, mate. Well, so what? Come here for £100. It don't work. You need that relationship with a contractor, I think.
You are right, Will, as well. The meter of cable up the conduit. I was on a job once, and it was priced to begin with. And then they was like, nothing's working. Can you have a look at that room? Nothing's working. So took the front of the switch off. Yeah, looked in there. That looks all good. And then, when you just leave it hanging.
Yeah.
And it just fell off.
It just fell out. And about that much the cable come out with it. And I was like, was this priced before? And they was like, yeah. and every switch and socket just had a meter of cable stuffed up it.
The
And
best one I had to that, and it wasn't.
Idiots, man. They're like, you think that's like an urban myth, don't you? But I've seen it myself, you know. I've got to be honest, like the old myth going around, that's what they reckon happened with the fire alarm at the Tottenham ground, wasn't it? That they were doing all that.
Yeah, a lot of that went on. I know a lot of things went on there. I know someone who was there. I'm not condoning this behaviour. I don't think it works out very well. You know, I think it's silly. But at the Tottenham ground, I know someone who went round and would just cut all the tags off, all like the markings off of the cable at the board. Yeah. So,
prick. What a prick!
There might be like 200 cables at the board, and he just go around and cut them all off, leave them on the floor, and then they've got to test it all out. In the end, they didn't know where anything went, so they was testing it, but they couldn't find the other end. So in the end, they had to rewire it again.
Yeah.
I heard a story there where they had to someone put some containment up, and then they put it up too early, so they had to take it down for the pipework to put up for the sprinklers. So they took all the containment down again, repiped it, put it all back up, come back a week later, now the pipes are on. Take it all back down again, adjust the pipe, put it all back up. Someone come along, no, it's still not right, mate. Take it all fucking back down again. It's like that was the way that job. That's why it overrun.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, proper. Everyone just ripping them off.
Yeah, but I remember talking of that cable handing down. I'll never forget this when I was doing my apprenticeship. And we're going to talk about Little Legs again. We talked about Little Legs with Matthew Ross on that episode, didn't we? And he'd done a plasterboard box, and he'd cut the hole too big. He'd marked it out. He'd marked the one side of the box. Do you know what I mean? So the hole was the size of the fucking box, but he just propped it in the hole. So I remember reaching around to turn the light on and just pushed it into the void. Why have you just? He was the senior electrician on site, and I didn't realise. You popped it in the hole. What are you talking? I didn't realise. Fucking smelly little bastard.
What's some of the worst stuff you've seen at Will?
Mine's that was one of the things I was going to say to you. I know is that like there's a lot of stuff on social media and all that going about like make electricians great and all that again and all that. And it's like obviously you boys have been about like I've never seen it that great. Have you?
Do you know what? No. Do you know what? I want to push back against that a little bit. Now, I don't think
do that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I do, mate. I love it. Just getting it ready right now. I think that the electrical industry is exactly what you want it to be, right? So if you want it to be shit and you go out there and you look for the shit and you say, right, that's shit, it's going to be, innit?
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to go out there and find the good in it, you can do that too. It's a funny industry where it's as good as you make it. It's as good. Yeah. You're as good as you want to be, and the industry's as good as you make it. You look at some of the boards that are going on Instagram lately. I'm telling you now, I don't know how they do some of them boards. Some of them boards are like witchcraft has done.
I like the ones that keep appearing with the lids on. That's shit behind that then. Just go with the lid on. Yeah, I've done what you put.
But some of them boards are so beautifully dressed, like, and I look at it and I think, there's no way I could do that.
I'll be honest, as nice as they are, fucking don't need to look like that. They don't need to be. They just need to be you can work in them. You know what I mean?
I've got to be honest. I do take a bit of pride in mine. They're not nowhere near as neat as them because obviously I'm on price, so I can't. Yeah. But I'm not on price as in like all my customers. I have repetitive work. You know what I mean? I'm local spark sort of thing anyway. So I'm not going to do anything just because of the price. But yeah, it's like I see some of them are even putting ferrules on them. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what are you doing?
I'll be honest. I ferrule now. I do ferrule.
Funny you should say that.
I've got ferrule as well.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that because I've got a little technical one for you, Sam, as well. When I'm doing this Hager 3-phase board and the tails for the RCBOs were just everywhere, and I just messaged them because you can do it on WhatsApp with Hager, and I've it's first time I've done it. I've never done it before, and I just said, can you cut them down? You know what I mean? Because I've always done it before, you know what I mean? But I thought, like, because I'm actually paying for these RCBOs at 40 quid a pop, and there's about 20 of them, I thought I'd fucking ask.
The option's there as well, isn't it? It's easy to ask, so you're bothered.
And they said, yeah, it's fine to do as long as you're fair on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, and that's, you know, and it's like fair enough, you know what I mean? It's just when you do it and there's issues, and then all of a sudden it's like you cut them all down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I bought a ferrule kit online. Sam recommended it to me. It cost me 20 quid. It came with the crimping tool and a load of ferrules in it as well.
I've got the same one. The only trouble is I found with mine is it that Perceiver or whatever it's called.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Funny enough, you know that brand, that SWA.
Yes.
They sent me out a set. I don't know why. Like, you know, they sent me out a set to test, and I've still got the video on my Instagram, and theirs are pretty nice.
How much are they, though? That's the trouble.
The only problem is with theirs is that you've got to put it in the correct slot. You know what I mean? Like where them ones, it just like octopus, they call it, don't they?
Yeah, so you like the CK set do that, didn't they? You have to put it in the right jaw.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I didn't want. I was pushing back against that, and the only other set I see was, I can't remember what brand it was now. Sam, you remember this? Nipex. And that was £130.
I went right down a rabbit hole with them. I searched every brand, and I just couldn't justify the Nipex ones. I was like, you know they're going to be the business. You just know they are. Yeah. But it's like £100 more.
It does come into problems, though. The more of this stuff you use, so torque screwdrivers, this stuff, the crimp tools and stuff, you need to get them calibrated. They say that you even need to get your lug, your big lug, your 10, 16, 25. Technically, that should be calibrated.
Yeah.
Because how do you know that? So you go, it all goes a bit weird, mate. So when you say, when people are going on and they're crimping everything and it's great, if you're not getting them tested once a year, technically, you could be doing more harm than good.
Yeah, but can't you actually, I think you can self-calibrate them though, can't you? So if you have enough a model that's been calibrated, so you could swing them off each other, but all of a sudden before you go down the road, you've got two sets, haven't you?
It's where you're going. So if you feathered every cable, then that's good. Yeah. But your crimper hasn't been calibrated or is wrong, and you can pull them out, then you would have been better off with no ferrules in the first place and just doing the way it's always been done. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like what you were saying earlier about like, you know, like we were saying about the torque settings, you know, like I think it's Hager on a 1.5 single cable is 1.7 Newton meters, and that is proper loose, you know, like if you're doing it with your drivers. Yeah. I've done a little test sort of thing on one of my YouTube videos, and I literally done it, and every time it was like 3 Newton meters, you know, like, Jesus Christ, I've never done it in my life, but I've never done that sort of thing in my life, and it's quite surprising, really. It's like, even like when I was, you know, younger and I was a bit more, when I was on price, I would do it with an impact driver, which obviously I don't do anymore. But, you know, and you think about it, like an impact driver is probably rated at about 40 Newton meters.
Well, this is the big thing with impact drivers, isn't it? Because I've said this a few times now. If you've got that DeWalt impact, the new one with the free settings on it, I don't know if you put on setting 1, it goes very soft. I'm confident you can actually go through a board and do them all to that, and then you'd still need to talk them up after. It does it that soft. So when people say don't use impact drivers in a board, but
let me tell you the best impact driver of all time is the Makita 10.8, the old one, the old white one that used to come with a drill as well. 10.8, like they got the little round batteries that go in the bottom. I've got one that's 15 years old, and let me tell you, it is simply the best second fixing tool in the world.
Finish. I remember they used to come, and they're 2 tiny little drills, aren't they?
Yeah.
The size of the fucking box they used to come in.
Yeah.
Justify your 150 quid. It was like a speaker.
Yeah, because they used to bring out pink ones, didn't they, for breast cancer and that. Yeah. I've got the little 12-volt Milwaukee ones, and going back to that, the actual setting on the minimum one for that driver for a 12-volt, it's a non-impact, but it's got the quarter hex, is 2 Newton meters. So it just goes to show that straight away you can't use that with the smallest drill they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, you know, And it, with like there'll probably be people listening saying, "Oh yeah, you've used an impact, you fuckers," but it's 95% of us listening have done it.
This is the big thing with this podcast, that we're talking reality here. We're talking about what really goes on. We're not talking about ideal situation because life ain't ideal, jobs ain't ideal. We're talking about what really happens and how bad is it really? Because we can gloss over and go, you shouldn't use an impact. Yeah, of course not, but people do. And
we all have. Let's be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was doing social housing and you had to do the boards, and you had a day, we had to do 2 a day, right? That's a periodic at the time. A periodic, a rewire. So a strip out, a rewire, a board change, and we had to do 2 of them a day.
To be fair, mate, I know a bloke that could do 3 EICRs in a day, so.
So, mate, you could only imagine the sort of things that were getting pulled on them jobs, because I was only on a day rate, but I was still like an adult trainee, so I was just doing what I'm told.
So what were they doing then? So they were doing a test,
a strip out, a rewire.
What, of a kitchen or?
No, of the whole house or a flat. And then...
Oh, was it all in tube then, was it?
No, surface.
Oh, can't beat a bit of that, can you?
And
got a little bit of skirting for your love.
It's and then it was chaos, mate. Like no screws were used. I'll be going along with my impact, putting my SDS and my impact, putting screws in the sticky trunk in, and the geezer's shouting at me, "Don't worry about the screws, just stick it up." So in the end, you're just sticking it up, like across the ceiling.
Was it not? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Was he like doing hockey sticks around the corners and all that?
Yeah, mate, it was a complete rewire in surface. We've done 3-bedroom houses like that.
Yeah, when we used to do it, me and my mate, we used to be able to do them in 2.5 days, like a full rewire. And if every now and then there'd be 4 of us and we could do it in a day, but it was proper neat, you know what I mean? We weren't cutting corners like that, but discreet in the corners, you know what I mean?
The classic thing I always come across now is when you get a brand new board, all in brand new colours, and then about 1/4 of a metre into the trunk and above the board, it's all cut and through crimps. That's pretty much what they do. It's been rewired. I mean, this through crimp. And I come across one earlier, brilliant. It was a shower not working. On the notes, it said someone had gone there and it's like replaced the shower. So I replaced the whole shower. I said the PCB weren't working, done it all, switched it on, weren't working. I thought, what is going on? So I looked into the switch, the pull cord, and it had probably 1/2 inch of mastic between that and the wall. And I was taking it, what am I going to find here? And they'd wired the pump into the isolator as well, which is quite a common thing they've done wrong, because it's a bit too 5 on a 40 amp. But yeah, the things they do is just whack it up, mastic it, get that up there, shove it, just get it done. Do you know what I mean? It's
it's so bad. It's so bad. Some of that social housing stuff. It's so bad. And like knowing what I know now, and I feel a bit sorry for what went on, if I'm honest, because if I look back now, we never done one test. We never tested the houses. Even afterwards, we didn't test them. I'll be driving the van, and the electrician would be sitting next to me going, give me a number between so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'll be like, 52. And he'd go, right, that do. Yep. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it would be tested.
The trouble is, though, so like if you look at the SOR codes on jobs and how much you get, like most councils pay about £100 for an EICR, but you'll get about 30-40 quid to install a socket. So they'll go into a house for 2 hours, won't do no testing, but they'll stick 10 new sockets in because that's worth more money to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whenever you go to social housing, you always end up with 2 sockets directly under the board because it's easy money.
See, we used to like the firm I'd done it for. I think it weren't as like cutthroat as that, because they I used to do the testing. I even though I'd done testing before, I'd done the rewires, but like you got to know, they had to, you just work your way up, sort of thing. And we used to do 2 tests a day and all that, and that was on price. But yeah, you used to get a few remedials and all that, but yeah, it was never as like that. But yeah, that was the other thing, is that you do the remedial works and all that, and that, you know, that's what it was, because they had a guidance, didn't they, for the amount of sockets they wanted and all that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
it was all on price, but it was a good earner. But yeah, it weren't as cutthroat as that, because they had like QSs as well, like the council, like, or they always warned you that they did.
They had nothing on this one. They had nothing on this one. Mate, I knew that people were filling up their van on a Friday with all the stuff for next week. They was going to this shop in Penge, unloading it there, getting a nice bunce, then driving to a different wholesaler to load up their van on Monday for the rest of the week. So doubling up. No one was checking anything. It was chaos. People were having it right off there. But there's me just trying to like stay on the straight and narrow, because I've got my electrical work, and I was learning from cowboys, man. Learning from cowboys.
Yeah, that's pretty poor, isn't it? Really? Yeah, because we always done a test, because obviously, like, you know, even though, you know, like, I would always do it properly, you know what I mean? Because it's just, you should do, shouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be responsible for it. So, but yeah, Jesus, that sounds like Wild West, doesn't it?
It was the Wild West, man.
It can be.
Tell me a bit more about your.
Let's talk about some sponsors first. We're about halfway, I think. So we're going to talk about Klein Tools, show sponsor now for a little while, Klein Tools and Super Rod. They want to talk today about some verification VDV products. So these are products that you use primarily for your data stuff, you know, so you can test your phone, your home theater, your network stuff, your satellite, CCTV cables. And they've got a new product called the Scout Pro 3. So it does voice data and video cable testing, locates and tests coax data on telephone cables too, and it verifies accurate cable installations every time. So it's created to save time, be durable, and be accurate. You could go on.
Hold on. So what does it do? So like you can trace cables with it. So you put one in, and you go around and you test it.
That's it. Yeah. So if you imagine, have you ever used a coax tester before in your life, or
no.
date or a Cat5 tester?
The Cat5. Yeah, I was on a job once in Kingston, and someone had cut all the numbers off. Funnily enough, and it was for all the BT, not BT cable, the Cat5 cables. And there was a massive like log of it coming down. And it was me and this other guy's job. He would go to each room and I would have to find it out of the bundle.
Well, this is the kit. If you was on that job, this is the bit of kit you want, mate. You can find, if you go to Klein Tools and search for VDV, it's on there, and you could go. They've got loads of cable testers on there. And also, while we're on the subject of Klein, you've got to join that trades club. The latest giveaway, they just give away one of their things that I can never remember the name of. Their cable reelers. We're famous for this now. The Cable Jack
Pro, isn't it?
The Cable Jack Pro. They just give one of them away, and the spooler that goes on the floor, goes on sideways. One I
got one of them, and they are fantastic. I've got one, and I used it the other day, and I was like, why did I not use this before?
They're doing a monthly draw. It's free to join. Klein Tradesman Club. Go and check it out. They keep up to date with all their products as well. But listen, there's a chance to win prizes, and that's fantastic. Check them out.
Will, did you have something to add, mate?
Yeah.
He did. He ain't anymore.
Don't worry about it.
I totally forgot now. I was just like fucking.
Will, do you know who Ideal are?
Yeah.
Yes. So Ideal.
They're Yellow 77, aren't they?
This is it.
Man Punk.
This is it, man. So Ideal are Ideal are producing some amazing bits and pieces from their amazing lineup. So you've got splice line connectors, they replace crimps. You've got your lever connectors, they replace, well, you know that company that begins with W. Well, they've got a competitor. Now check them out. They also do the legendary. Now every spark in the known universe has used Yellow 77. And who makes that? Ideal make that. So check out Ideal at idealindustries.com or on Twitter at ideal_EMEA.
Now, to put that to the test, Will, what is Yellow 77?
Old Man Spunk.
Yeah. Blocks up that tube wonderfully.
To be fair, that stuff has been about for years, isn't it? They even tried a clear one, but no one bought it, did they?
Yeah, mate, it's absolutely awesome, and it beats the old. And you always get this normally with improvers on site that go and get. Oh, I'll go and get some fairy liquid. Just go down the tube, disintegrates
or go and
the
get some
fucking
soap out the
insulation on the
toilet.
cable. Yeah, absolutely nonsense. But the 77 stuff.
Yeah,
it's no frills in it. It's no frills. Just does the
job.
job.
No, credit where credit's due. It is decent, isn't it? You know what I mean? I've even got a tub in my van all the time there. You know what I mean? It does work.
Oh yeah.
How many
apprentices you've got?
It's just like the early afternoons with the apprentice, isn't it? You know what I mean? But, you got to get what you got to get.
Go to the van, get the yellow 77 out, will you?
Yeah.
You know what's coming.
So you were saying, like, when I was talking to Sam on the phone, like before,
that was unfortunate.
He was mentioned about Twitter and all that. So is there a big society on Twitter then, or
there was?
Actually,
there was,
this was.
But go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. We was going to have the discussion, wasn't we? Because actually, this whole toxic shit social fucking media bollocks is really starting to grind me now. You know, you put something on social media and every prick has to inbox you, but no one's got the bollocks to say it to your face or want to comment on social media. I've kind of ruined it, and Twitter has dropped right off the radar. Hardly anyone's using Twitter anymore. Pretty much.
What the problem is with Instagram, it's like, as I said, I do my little daily story, and then I show them a picture to show what I've done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of my work. My work's all right. I know I'm neat. You know what I mean? I know there's better, and but it is what it is. But like, what the problem is when you get the other people who are on Instagram who are like employees for companies and all that, or do stuff. What you've got to remember is that, like, people like myself with companies, and there's loads of decent lads on there, like, unbelievable, like the work they do. But we're all in greenhouses. You know what I mean? So if you start slagging our work off, I'd probably say with my page, I've probably got about 75% of them are probably like in the trade, and the other quarter are friends and customers. And if you see something, because like one of the other people, like big influencers who do podcasts and all that, I see criticising other people's work, and usually what the normal protocol is for me, because you lads must be similar sort of, like I've been doing this I'm 43, I've been doing this 23 years, is that you can go on Instagram and you can see by the standard of someone's work of how long they've been doing it for, can't you? You know what I mean? You just can. And like, there was one flippant comment I see of someone, and he just put like, this lad, it was nonsense anyway. Like where you put the cap in the back of the walls, you've got the banding that just fixes it back.
Yeah, the little black still banding.
Yeah, the little black banding. Yeah, he just put, oh sweet, it's all fire clip now, and it's just like, and then this particular people made a comment saying, oh, that banding hasn't been tested to this, and it's just like, mate, it's below a fucking socket. You know what I mean? It's going to be behind plaster. There's going to be no premature collapse. It's, if you have got a gripe with him, just personal message him. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you about premature collapse, and let me tell you about all this.
This is the man to talk about premature anything.
Listen, you're not wrong. Ask Amanda, she'll tell you. She'll be like, best 3 seconds of my life. I don't mind. I ain't proud. Right? Let me tell you that.
Long enough to fill a pram.
Exactly. Let me tell you about this premature collapse. Virtue coding bullshit. This is a new word that was invented by the team at EGTE. Virtue coding, right? That's one thing. The second thing is, we are electricians, yeah. This sort of stuff where it's not tested to certain degrees and all that. We use a book. The book tells us what we can and can't use, because it's our guidance notes. Yes, you work from it, not to it. All that sort of stuff. But what I'm saying is, the things that people are talking about are above our pay grade. Relax.
It is nonsense.
It's nonsense. Yeah. So it comes down to the fact that if you're gonna worry about premature collapse in a building, right? Say in a normal square room, right? Premature collapse. You've got plasterboard walls.
Yeah.
And you've got conduit going up and over like an arch, right? You can only fix to the actual stud and not the plasterboard. You have to make sure that you fix to the stud, because if the firemen come in and squirt water on the plasterboard and you've only fixed the plasterboard, then it's going to premature collapse. That's not for us to think about. That's so mental.
The thing is, as well,
it's got a last half hour fire test in it.
60 minutes, isn't it?
Is it 60
Yeah,
minutes?
but that goes down when you start wetting it with water.
But let's talk about this, because I looked into this the other day, and the conclusion
Sorry,
I kind
Rick.
of made to it. Sorry, go on, Will. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, Rick. I've just got one little comment there to go with that. Is that one of my mates is got his own firm that they do like all these flats in London. You know, like where they do the 60 flats and all that.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to him about it, and I was chatting to him about it, and on their site, they always argue about it, is that they have to get the Hilti clips, you know, like with the nail gun and do it up, because what their argument is like what you say with the plasterboard, is that what they say is that when the firemen come in now, they just take the ceiling straight,
smash it down. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, fucking hell, you don't want to chip fire with them fuckers, do you? You know what I mean?
And the trouble is, a lot of this we're talking, because primarily there's not many electricians that are doing commercial work that are out in this stratosphere. It's mainly domestic. And people are going mad for premature collapse in domestic houses. It's fucking mental. The firefighters that got trapped up weren't in a fucking house, were they? That was in the commercial premises where hundreds of cables weren't fucking, you know what I mean, fell down.
Unfortunately, they weren't, mate. Well, I think there was 2 cases, because sadly enough, one was in Southampton and the other one was in Stevenage, like my hometown. And like the 2 flats, because oddly enough, I actually worked in that block of flats, and what they used to do there is nothing against the rules or the regulations, but you used to get the COVID trunking. I've only ever seen it there, is that they used to have all the COVID trunking with all the drops that come down. Mm-hmm. It was quite unique, and it was in that building where
I've used that.
It come down, and it's just that like no one would ever presume that, would you really?
No, but it's not really for the electrician on the ground to be making those decisions. No, it's about like if you go into someone's house, right? You're not gonna use plastic clips in someone's house, because the regs say use metal clips, premature collapse. You're not gonna start wondering, will that bit of plaster hold up? So they've got lava and plaster. Will that hold up if I fix to it? Da, da, da. That's not really your job to sort of make sure that firemen are safe should it ever happen. That's not our job. I'm sorry.
It is. I think it is, especially on a new install.
I think it is, yeah.
But we're
on a new install, yeah.
Yeah, but we're going down rabbit holes now.
No, not on a new install. What are you talking about? That's the designer's job on a new install.
No, because
you are the designer.
Yeah, exactly that. If you're working for yourself, you design, didn't you?
I work for myself,
from a commercial point of view.
But the other thing is, it's like, as you say, on a new build, you don't have to, all this premature, like above, like the studs and on the plasterboard, you don't have to worry about it too much. You know what I mean? You don't have to have clips. No. Everyone's, and it's like, as I go back, a lot of people do use that banding, even though but the thing is, with that banding and then clips, like them fire clips, I think it costs them. I see something on that eFix, and I'm sure they were saying something like it costs something like 30 grand to charge to test their product. So that's why they're not doing it, because like that banding is about 4 or 5 quid a bat, like a roll.
It's nothing, mate. It's nothing.
You're never going to test it, are they?
And I'm not being funny. So when we looked into this the other day, one thing I do want to say before I get into what I looked into was the sort of comments I'm seeing flying about with someone to be doing it in the ICR. Now, do you take the trunking lid off to check if it's all metal clipped? And if it ain't metal clipped, do you see to it and then go back and metal clip it? And then someone said it was nonsense. You can't be expected to do that. And then someone's response was, well, I would have wanted on my conscience if a firefighter died because I never had. That's nonsense. That's such a nonsense thing to say.
Dumb.
So we looked the other day into red wire plugs into concrete. And is that fire rated? So if you do red wire plug into concrete, is that good enough to hold any metal clip?
Well,
I'm asking that. But what do you think? So if you install a red wire plug correctly into concrete, is that a sufficient fire-rated fitting to then fit metal onto a metal clip or whatever?
I don't know. Well, we do it.
So there's conflicting advice.
And I have actually seen things. And funny you should say that, because I have seen like other people like discuss it online and all that, and they've said, because it's difficult really, because the plug goes in that far, doesn't it? Where there's no oxygen in there, so there's it's not, the fire's not going to get in there, is it?
No.
The only way that raw plug can get damaged is by that screw getting hot enough to melt it.
That's it. And
so
the general consensus is that what's going around from certain bodies that people are talking to is that once it's inserted in the wall, it becomes part of that wall. So it's to the same fire rating as that wall. So the IET done a couple of experiments on this, and they concluded that it goes, I think they're fire rated up to about 380 degrees. So the ones that did fail during this test that they've done, they run like 4 tests. They had 5 different ways of holding stuff up, and some of them failed, some of them never. When they did fail, they failed around 380 degrees. The guidance says you need to put a fire rating of 600 degrees. So that's what we're going for. That's what the regs say. We're aiming for a fire rating to sustain for about 600 degrees for a certain length of time. So I'm not going to go too far into this because it would be here all night.
Yeah, but we haven't got the answers, have we?
Yeah, the most obvious thing
I think the whole premature collapse thing.
Hold on.
Just follow the guidance notes and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but then you say
don't overthink it.
Listen, the guidance notes say 600 degrees. The average house fire burns between 530 and 1,000 degrees. So what's the 600 degrees?
If you've got a house fire of 1,000 degrees, a fireman ain't going into a house for 1,000 degrees.
But this is the other point as well, isn't it? So it's mental. It's crazy. And yeah, exactly that.
Listen, if your house is at full burn, your house is at full burn, it's 1,000 degrees in there. You ain't getting close to it, even if you're a firefighter.
Who's going in at 600 degrees?
Exactly. Lunacy. This is what I'm saying. It's not our problem. It's a problem of the people who write the books. Sorry, Will.
Unless I play football with a few firemen as well, and it's like unless there's life in there, they ain't going in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, like you say, when you're fixing to things, you can't fix to plasterboard because, like I say, when they spray it down, it falls apart. So then you've not got it unless you're going into concrete. Really, you're not really achieving your fixing anyway. So, but it's mental the way he's gone, and this is what annoys me.
I've got something else for you as well, like your opinion, because I had a funny one. I had my approved contractor thing last week, where the guy comes in and like at the moment, I don't know if you lads have ever done it. Have you ever been a QS or done like the meeting and all that? And like basically,
I've never have no.
Because like this time round, like it was half a day, so he basically we've done similar to this, like but it was via WhatsApp, and he was asking me, and where the geezer's been doing it for so long now, and it's the first time I've had the guy, and he was fucking pretty switched on, and I was a bit worried because usually you get a bit of rapport with them, because if you can show me work, you feel a bit more comfortable. Like I'm more than comfortable with my work, you know what I mean? It's like, so you feel a bit more comfortable. And I even said to him, like straight away, I said, some of my paperwork could be a bit iffy, you know what I mean? Like the tick list, I don't spend as much time as I should. And like what you got to remember is that with these fellas, they see so many people, it's all rehearsed, you know what I mean? They know, because I said to him, out of all the people, he said, look, Will, he goes, I see 300 people. I've seen 6 people get the tick list right, and the 3 others were fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, also, what I was going to say to you, well, not so much the tick list, but he was going on about the surge protection and all that. And all of a sudden, and like before I answered, he goes, "Oh, do you like fit surge protection and all that?" And he goes, "Why don't you?" And I was like, "Hold on a minute, mate." I goes, I do. And like, lucky enough, because like my Instagram is a bit like a CV. I said, look, mate, we'll go through them. Like any job I show you, the test certs, we go through them if you like. You know what I mean? It's like, I've got nothing to hide. I pride myself on that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't mind a laugh and a joke, but when it comes to work, we'll have it, if you want to.
Yeah.
And like, I was showing him and he was saying to me, and he was so, I think it was because it pissed me off because when the surge protection come in the 18th, is that I was the only one, not the only one in Stevenage or around this area, but I have a good relationship with all my wholesalers and all that. You know, I'm a pretty friendly geezer, so I have a laugh with them all. You know, so, and I was asking them, like, you know, trying to get the price, but no one was fitting them. But I was still fitting them because obviously I was having, like last year, last year's appointment got cancelled, so I was still fitting them. But I always will. You know what I mean? It's like I'm quite lucky with my customers. I'm not on. You know, when I say quite lucky with my customers, I do it as I think I should do it. You know, I'm like, if someone comes at me with a house rewire, you know, or anything, I won't put in stuff to lower the price. You know, the price is the price. You know, I don't put any shit gear in, or I don't comebacks. You know what I mean? We've all been there, haven't we? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you have the shit garden lighting. You know what I mean? You spend the rest of your life going back there, don't you? You know what I mean?
For me, surge protection is one of those things that will slowly become the norm. But as with anything new, it takes a while to become like part of the status quo. Now, I think surge protection is important to a certain degree. It's not just for lightning. There's a lot of things it deals with, but it really comes down to your customer and your ability to explain to your customer why they should have it. And most customers aren't really trying to listen, are they?
It's a hard SPD is a hard sell.
No, sorry, lads. I'll tell you why I was going at where I was, and the reason why the geezer asked me is that I live in Hertfordshire and all that. If you look at the regulations, we live in the most like dangerous area, like the twister zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I've fucking been a spark for 23 years. I don't know anyone. I know one person's house that's been struck, and that was struck by the aerial, and it blew their house up. You know, and they're like, you know, and it's like, you know, you live in the worst area, because that's why obviously the geezer was like, you know, pulling people up on it.
It's not just for lightning though. Like it can be, you can get a surge from your fridge spooling up and stuff like that. It's not just lightning surge; it's all surge. There might be like sometimes you get fluctuations on the grid, and this just protects your house from those small fluctuations or from a lightning strike. That's so unlikely that if you tried to sell it on the basis of a lightning strike, people will laugh in your face and say, "No, you're all right. Don't come with your expensive lightning strike package. No, you're all right."
But that's what I'm saying to you though, Sam, is that I've never been to a job. The only time I've ever been to a job where it was to do with voltage is, you know, like the air source pumps.
Yeah.
And all that. Some of them on the Mitsubishi Eco Dans, I don't know if they still do. We're talking about 5-10 years ago. But their circuit board, if they went over 250 volts, which it can do in the remote areas, it will blow the PCBs, and I had to put a voltage optimizer on it. You know what I mean? But other than that, I've never seen it. Or, you know, it's just one of those things like where you think, like, you know, a bit like Corona. Is it real? Is it made up, or what?
Do you know what, mate? I know exactly what you mean.
It's a surge protection of the Corona world.
Listen, we could go down that rabbit hole if you want. I don't believe in Corona.
How much? What's the cheapest board you can get with an SPD feed?
I don't know. I think I do know, but
I think it's about £150. Hager done one, but the trouble is, it's £150, but you're back to a dual RCD board when we're talking about RCBOs. So
I think I pay roughly about $120 plus VAT for a Hager.
And what's that for a dual RCD board?
Yeah, Hager.
And what's the cheapest? What's the cheapest dual RCD board you can get, mate? Sorry.
Yeah, I
60, 70 quid.
Yeah, to be honest, I always go with Hager really, because we carry all the stock. If it's RCBOs, I'll go Wilex or Hager.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 3-phase, it's usually Hager or Merlin, not Merlin.
Schneider.
No, I can't afford that. Jesus.
No, that's what Merlin Duran was. Merlin Duran was Schneider.
Yeah, it is. And Eaton, MEM. MEM I usually go for. I was going to go for it on this job I'm doing at the moment, but I didn't quote for the surge protection, so we went for Hager.
Fair play.
That's Schneider. Like it's lovely gear, and I'm sure I've seen one of your videos and you were chatting about it, and Yeah, because obviously they don't have the fly leads on the RCBOs anymore, do they?
But there's a few. I think Hagar do one without fly leads today. Not now.
No, well, not the one I bought today, because I'll tell you, it takes you about a day just to dress them in, so they don't look shit.
I thought it was Hagar, but there's definitely another brand that isn't Schneider that are doing domestic boards without the towels. I thought it was Hagar.
Oh, Hagar do. Yeah, that is for the earth monitoring lead. That's for the functional earth. They still have the leads for the blue ones, don't they?
No, I didn't think they did. I thought it was all leads. I thought they plugged in.
No, the Hager ones do, yeah, because I think Crabtree might. But you don't really see that brand anymore, do you? Like
no, I'll have to get back to you, but there was a brand I know, because everyone was going for them. I thought it was the Hager Club. Everyone was posting them on the Hager Club, the Hager Installer Club thing.
No, because they have they still have the blue the blue fly lead for the neutral, but they don't have the white.
I'm going to look right now. You talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to try and find this board for you, because I'm sure there was one.
So tell me this, Will. Give me something you love about the industry and something you hate about the industry. Starting with something you hate.
Something I hate. Interest-free credit for all my customers.
Yes, good answer.
And what do you love about the industry?
What do I love about it? What do I love about it? I don't know, really. It's passion, isn't it? It's your pride, isn't it?
For me, the one thing I hate is I hate the social media side of it now. I love and hate the social media side. It can be so draining.
But Sam, you are doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's not social media. I suppose it is. No, but it's like there's a downside. There's a downside to it, and then you've got the good side to it, which is having these conversations. Getting to know you, what makes you tick. You know, do you know what we haven't asked you? Are you JRB? Did you come up the right way? Did you have a good apprenticeship?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Funny enough, like I was saying to you earlier, I've never had a job interview. What I'd done was my first. I was classed as an adult trainee when I first started with my first JRB card, because I went to college full time when I was 18, and I'd done 2 years, and then I'd done the third year, and then on the last year, I was kind of giving up because I didn't think I was going to get a start. Then the geezer on the class, Nathan, he said, see if I can get you a start with my firm. And then we left college, and about 3 weeks later, he said, meet us at the slip road at Corrie's Mill. Jumped in the back of the van, and then that was it. You know what I mean? I've never had a job interview. Never, like, only in electrical, I've never had a job interview or nothing. You know what I mean?
So how old was you when you made the change?
Oh no, I was 18, 19. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I think my first qualification was 96, 95, something like that. Oh yeah. I basically left school because obviously we were all raving in them days. You know what I mean? So it's all a bit wild. So.
I'd say obviously, not everyone was.
Well, you lads are a bit younger than me, so you miss.
I am, yeah. I miss that scene.
Well, I would fuck off. You're not that much younger than him. I am. You got 10 years on me. Not quite that much on you, Sam.
How old are you, Will?
Don't look it, Bert. That's it. Jesus.
I had a difficult paper rank.
So, Will, are you a JRB gold card holder?
Yes, I am, mate. Yeah. I've also got all my testing as well.
So 2391 DART. Are you 18th now?
Yeah. I've done it at Hager as it goes.
Listen, nice. to be the arsehole with the conversation, no one's a JRB card holder anymore since about 2003.
What's your name, Neil?
I'm telling you, it's an ECS card, isn't it?
An ECS. Listen, for us, proper Sparks.
Jesus.
Yeah? For us proper Sparks, you know what I mean?
It's true. Let's get it factually right.
For us agency bums, do you know what I mean? It's a JRB card.
I'm actually approved. How much do I get for approved? I suppose we all are, aren't we?
You do get an uplift. No, you're only approved now if you've done your time. You've got your 2391 and your 3 or 5 years. I can't remember what it is.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years post qualification, and you got over your 2391.
And then you're approved.
I've got to be honest. I've done mine all a bit mongreled because it was all to do with the times. I've even got an AM1. Has either of you got an AM1?
No.
No. You know what I mean? It's like I done my like as I said, like when I done my college full time. So I got my AM1, I got my 1 and 2, and then I done my level 3 in the evenings and all that. And at the time, because the company I was working for, I was actually on the cards there. They see your level 3 as qualified, because they weren't a JRB company, and JRB weren't. Everyone was still frowning upon JRB because they were bullying their way, because they've always historically always urban myth, because obviously you don't have the internet and that shit now, do you? But it was always like heard of, like all the big companies used to dictate people's wages, so everyone wanted to stay. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
It's still very much a thing. I think the top sort of 8 companies that,
yeah. So the company I was with, and then all of a sudden, I was made up to be Sparks and all that, and then all of a sudden we went on a JRB site, or like they needed the ECS, and all that, and then they issued like half their workforce, like with the adult trainee ones. But I think I still got my original one where I could have got it without. I think I got the 2360 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's called. I did have that, so but I didn't register it in time to get it because there was a cut-off period, wasn't there? So I didn't register it, and then I'd done my 2 testing courses because I started getting into testing. I've always known how to test anyway, but and then I had to do. I had a bit of a touch with that because I'd done my mature MVQ3 because I wanted to get the gold card, complete, because it's odd, isn't it? Because you can have your testing, but you can't have a gold card.
Very strange.
That's bizarre, isn't it?
You don't need to be qualified to do your testing qualification.
Yeah, and do you know what the funny thing about it was? Is I done my assessment and all that, and I done it at the Maritime Museum, down in Greenwich.
Yeah.
Like by the Cutters Ark, they've done that up, and I was so
love it down there.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. You could drive down there on a Sunday and go because it's all free parking. Never mind, but yeah. But
and there's a Greenwich brewery there as well. That's a fantastic day out.
Oh, that's a massive one, isn't it? Is it in Maine? Is it Maine? It's called. Or we used to drive past it, and it was like seemed pretty small, but then all of a sudden you see it in all the pubs. I think they do Tottenham, the Tottenham ground. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, so then the assessor come out, but he couldn't take any photos because because it's on a maritime place, he can take any photos and all that sort of stuff. So it's really bizarre. And when the guy come out, because what was that? Must have been about 8 years ago, or whenever he come out, and the questions he was asking me, because he was like, "Oh, I've got to ask you, see if you know the trade." It was like pathetic. You know what I mean? It's like not pathetic, but some of the questions here is just really bizarre. But yeah, and that's how I got my gold card and all that. It's a bit of a strange way, but I went from a firm, then we went to a company that done loads of it, like commercial, industrial. Like I've been cursed with that because you both come from Sam, you come from domestic, didn't you?
No.
What about you, Ricky? Did you come?
I cut my teeth in domestic, but really and truly, last 10 years has been all commercial. So
yeah. Well, I come from commercial, so conduit trunking and all that. Like, I don't know why people say industrial, because there's very few of us do that, isn't it? Really,
I've done industrial. I've done petrol stations. That's light industrial, I guess.
But that's only really industrial and power stations, isn't it? Like we're using explosion glands and all that, like them hawk glands and all that. But yeah, and I started off with commercial. Then the next firm I went to, they were more domestic. So I'd done all the commercial stuff. Like I've done the Summerfields, I've done like a Roma, like 400-seater stadium, restaurant and all that. And I tell you, since that coming from commercial, it's like being fucking cursed. Everyone thinks you know you fucking everything, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And talking about people coming out to sites here as well, I remember an MVQ assessor coming to see me once, and normally you have one assessor, but I was working away from home, so they sent a different assessor down, and I was stripping out an old board, and I was getting the SWA glands off. Now, I know you say you don't use Schneider, but you've come across the old Schneider three-phase boards.
Oh, yeah. Since I worked
the old spine boards, sure.
Yeah,
so they've got a lip at the top of them. So when you gland stuff into them, there's nothing you can get in there to release the locking nut. So I had a hammer and screwdriver knocking them out. And he come, I'll pretend I never see that. So, well, how would you do it then, mate? You show me a better way, because you can't get your grips in there. There's no bush spanner that big. You can't use a bush. You show me a better way.
Yeah.
No, you're probably right. And that's just, people are just a bit like that at times, a bit stupid, you know. Think about why someone's doing something first.
Yeah, you say that about not doing Schneider and all that. If you look on my forehead, you can see that mark there. That's where I knocked off one of those. It was a Schneider board, because the Merlin Duran went away quite a few years ago, wasn't it? But
the old orange and grey.
Yeah, the old ISA boards. Where it come off. I was taking the board lid off, and like a fucking idiot with those, you got to leave one of the top ones in, haven't you? Because they proper spring out, don't they? And it was like I was hung over to anything, and it cracked me right across the nose. You know what I mean? It was a proper bad cut as well.
That's a depressing one as well, isn't it? For fuck's sake, right in the nose.
It is. Well. You know what I mean? It's like water prick, and it's just like and funny enough, that particular job was one of the jobs what got me into Milwaukee, because the geezer I was doing the work for, it was on a price, but I absolutely smashed it. And I think it was like he just couldn't give me the money, because his partner was like, would be like, no chance. So, and I had a couple of drills blow up, and then he goes, oh, go down to like the local shop, like AC Supplies, and obviously you can just go for the most expensive ones in there, didn't you? So, and then all of a sudden I've become cursed with that brand, because
it's good if someone else is paying, but it's when it's you paying, mate, it's an expensive.
Yeah, it's actually all right if you go online and all that. It actually ain't too bad. But I still am kind of, but all my 110 stuff's all Makita. But I didn't like the weight of Makita, because my mate Kev, who I was working with at the time, he had one, but I'm heavy-handed. So I like it heavy. It's like the screwdrivers. Like I like the Falcon screwdrivers. They're worth a go. They're 25 quid.
There's a conversation we was having on DeWalt actually being too heavy. I like it. But listen, as we come to the end of the podcast, Will, anything else you want to get off your chest? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to ask in the last 5 minutes we got here?
No, I'll talk fucking forever, mate.
No, I like it. We'll have to have you back on. We'll have to pick a power subject and get you back on, because I reckon you could just go on forever. Oh,
definitely, mate. Yeah.
So where can we find you? Will people want to find out more about your YouTube channel? You on Instagram?
Yeah.
What's your handles?
Instagram or YouTube. I don't really do Facebook or on Twitter. I don't really do. I only go look at UFC fighters and porn stars, to be honest. What else are you looking for?
And what's your handle? What are people searching? Just Will's Electrical?
Just Will's Electrical Services, YouTube, or thing. Just some geezer with a massive head.
What, Sam?
That's Rick.
There's about 3 of them here.
Boy got there first.
Hey, listen, Rick's got the biggest head in the world.
I'd you say this, but you're not a man with a small head. You're
Mate,
not a man with a small head.
Standing next to you, I look like Beetlejuice.
Listen, we're going to start doing...
Beetlejuice. Right, anyway, lads, cheers. Thanks for having me on, and it's pleased to meet you. And hopefully we'll maybe meet up for a drink or something one day, eh?
Yeah, I think,
I'd love that.
Professional, with Lex. Alexa's coming up in it. Maybe he'll be there in November if it goes on. So where are we finding us, mate? So we could do... Sorry, mate. God, you're buggering off too quick.
Chelsea Football Club, yeah?
No,
Chelsea, you?
Not.
I'm a rugby fan, mate. I don't do that.
We don't do that here. Listen, so don't forget to check us out on all social media platforms. YouTube, or even at egte.co.uk. That's got all the links on there as well. Just search on any of the other platforms, Electrician's Guide to Everything or EGTE.
EGTE podcast. You Google EGTE, you get an airport. You type in Idiotic Podcast, it's all us.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice one. Gents, been a pleasure. Until next time.